practice so far? A lot of good places.
Practice. Our first day of practice on the Friday night of October 15th was one of the best first practices I've ever had, and then it kind of went downhill from there a little bit. But since that Saturday and Sunday and Monday, it's been great because we have seen progress. We've seen improvement every day, which has been good. You don't always see that with as inexperienced team as we have, because a lot of days it can be so much up and down. But we have seen great improvement. We had our first kind of inter-squad game with referees and everybody Sunday night, and then we brought the whole team in and watched film individually with guys, and then we came back Monday and we were much better Monday. We learned so much from ourselves Sunday night. So we're anxious to get back out there today and kind of see if we can continue that improvement. And for the first time on Monday, I saw some cohesion as a team. Guys started understanding each other a little bit better, as well as the system, and that's a good combination. We saw a little bit of improvement in that, and it's been a struggle because so many guys have been thinking rather than playing. But on Monday, we saw a much better improvement.
Yeah, Ray, that's one thing Ray Penn mentioned that he feels better about this year is that he's not having to think through it. It's just a matter of time with a lot of those young guys.
Yeah, that's typical of a guy who is a sophomore, is not a freshman anymore. But all the new guys, the freshmen, Darrell and JP as well, their heads are spinning at this point. And again, we just coming out of a staff meeting, I've probably put in less offensive concepts than I ever have in the history of me being a head coach, because we've been trying to take it slow. And to be honest, they have been picking it up pretty slow. It has been a slow process. They haven't picked it up quite as well as I would hope to this point. So that's a reason for not putting as much in right now offensively. And we've focused on defense. We think that can be an identity of this team. We think that should be a strength of this team. If you just look at us on paper, we think defensively we can be much improved.
How much does your athleticism help counter maybe the progression, the difficulty of the learning part of it? Does it counter it quite a bit or no?
It counters it when you start playing. When we're doing drills and trying to run plays or things like that, guys are spinning. But when we start playing, guys who struggled in specific drills, half-court drills, when we start playing, they look 10 times better than they did in the actual drills. So because the drills are more fundamentals, the drills are more isolated as far as your mistakes are more present, and you can see them, and we're stopping it every second. So once we can add them an understanding of the rotations, the understanding of the plays, and then we're going up and down, then I think we've got a chance to be a pretty good team. But we're very far from understanding our offenses and defenses at this point. We've got a little ways to go in that area. But the work ethic's been there, the attitude's been there. When we're going up and down, we just look so much better. No different than the homecoming hoops thing the other night. We hadn't been playing well, and then we go out and we shoot the ball like that, and we actually ran some offense and they just look much better playing up and down than they have been in the half court.
Yeah, a lot of times when the word athleticism is thrown around a lot, sometimes that kind of covers up for, oh gosh, we don't shoot it that well. But
right.
What about these guys?
Well, I think the jury's still out on how good a shooting team we can be. We're probably losing two of our best three-point shooters from off last year's team, not throwing Keaton in there, but Obi and James Anderson on any given night were our two best shooters. And we haven't brought anybody in that's shooting the ball like those two did. So the jury's still out. We've had any given day in practices or individuals or the homecoming hoops where we've shot the ball pretty well, and then we've had other days where that has not been a strength of our basketball team. So the jury's still out on that. We've spent so much time trying to concentrate on defense and trying to concentrate on those aspects. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to how many shots we're making or missing. It hadn't been really a priority for me at this point. And we're going to start concentrating on it a little bit more. But to say that is a strength of our team, I don't know yet. It's way too early to tell. Whereas last year we thought it should have been a strength, and we didn't shoot the ball very well early in the season.
He's so willing to say, okay, this is what Coach Ford wants me to do. But
I think so. He's shown me a lot the last 6-7 months, things I had not seen from him before. as far as his, just willing to do anything as far as his body and getting in the gym extra. And this summer, not that he's always done what I've asked him to do. But I've made it known I thought he lost that gym rat a little bit, and he got back into the gym. But as I've said, it's a process for Keaton, and he's progressing in the process very well. His process of his role is evolving. So if your role is evolving, your game better evolve, and if your game's going to have to evolve, then your body better evolve. It's kind of because he's been able to play in the shadow of Byron and Terrell and James and Obi and these guys, and now he's considered our best returning player. He's definitely our most experienced player minute-wise. So no longer is he third or fourth on the scouting report for other teams. He's going to be more of a focal point with the bullseye. So with that, his game's got to evolve. He can't just be the same Keaton. And he has taken on that responsibility, and he's done a great job of developing his game, developing his body. He's becoming a better leader. Still want him to be much more vocal and take much more ownership of this basketball team. But I think our relationship is evolved as well. As you all know, I've always been very, very tough on Keaton. I don't see myself having to do that anymore because he's such a veteran now. He's shown me a lot. Yeah, he has shown me a lot in this offseason, and his play has backed it all up. He's playing the best basketball of his career so far. His game has evolved.
We asked all the players who come in, who stands out among all your new guys, and the first name out of their mouth is Markel.
Well, it stands out because he's probably the flashiest, and he's probably the best one-on-one player, and that's what our players don't pay attention to the other things, and they like that aspect of it. There's no question Markel is a very talented individual. No question Markel will have a significant role in this basketball team. But I think for their own right, all of them have done a very good job. Again, the inter-squad scrimmage we had the other night, we divided it up in 4 games, 10-minute games, 4. Darrell Williams goes out and I think has 20 and 18. He was tremendous. JP scored 19 but didn't do some other things I wanted. He didn't rebound the ball well, didn't have a very good 4 game, but scored the ball, which we knew he could do. Michael Commons has been very good in practice, has been dominating in practice at times. In some practices, the best player in practice, not dominating points, but dominating on how he affects the game in so many different ways, deflections, rebounds, blocking shots, running the fast break, all these things. He's not going to have this as a freshman, just huge stats, but he affects the game in so many ways that he, could have been a redshirt type candidate, but now it looks like he's going to need to play because he's doing so well. And then Brian Williams is one of these guys that struggles in the drills, struggles in the fundamentals at times, but you put him in a 5-on-5 situation or a 1-on-1 situation, he looks tremendous. So they've all had their moments, and they're all going to have a chance. But the junior college players, obviously are just physically a little more ready.
Fred Gulling.
Fred, again, in our 4 games the other night, he's the only player on our team that went undefeated. His teams were 4-0. And he had a great stat line. He was, I think 3 of 6 from the field, and had 7 assists, 1 turnover, 7 rebounds. Great stats for a point guard who led his team to victories. That's the bottom line. As a point guard, did your team win? And so, with his shoulder surgery, it took away a little bit of him getting to work on his shooting and things in the summer. But once he got back healthy, whenever that was, into July, he really put a lot of time in to work on his shooting and to changed a little bit of his shooting. And he seems to be improved at that. He seems to be have a better understanding of the point guard position, what's expected out of it. But you can very much see that he gained some valuable experience. There's some very crucial time last year. So he's playing really good basketball right now. Very proud of him. There's areas he can continue to improve handling pressure. He continue to improve his finishing around the rim on layups. He can continue to improve, knocking down the open shot. But his defense and all those stats I mentioned to you, didn't even mention the defense he played the other night for 94 feet. His defense has even gotten better because I think he understands this could be a signature, my identity as a player, and he's really embraced that as well. So feel very comfortable with where Fred Gully's at.
Have you coached or been around many players who, while they may have some offensive limitations, impact the game as much as he does?
Yeah, I have. I've coached other point guards. I had a point guard at Kansas University named Montrell Irvin, who was about 5'7", who wasn't a great scorer or shooter at all, but he might be the best defender I've ever coached, and he was a game changer. And I always vowed. I said, anytime I could find another Montrell Irvin, I would take it because he won games with his defense by himself. He disrupted the team's offense so much for 94 feet that it changed the game. And he just didn't hurt us on offense. He got the guys the ball. I've coached some guys. Fred's a smart player. Fred is defined by a winner. Is how I define him. He's won in high school, and he helped us win last year. And he's the type of player who's going to figure it out because he wants to play and he wants to win. He's going to figure out how to get that done.
Sometimes sophomores might be a little didn't comprehend you had to play defense. I'm always interested if the head coach agrees about it.
Yeah, Ray's definition of defense and my defense must be totally two different things. No, Markel does have great concept of defense. He's been coached very well by Coach Smith back at his high school, at Peabody High School. Very well. One of the best I've seen coming in as far as an understanding of the game and what he's been taught. Done a great job. Now, Markel struggles when it becomes contact as far as going through screens and things like that, which is natural for a lot of freshmen because they've never been screened as much and never been screened by such big people. So that's a natural progression. But he does have a great concept of the understanding of defense and how it's played, so I would agree with Ray there. But we're looking for a little bit more physicality out of Markel defensively as well as offensively.
Marshall's last go-around, what have you seen from him? Because he's kind of been a roller coaster at times, and he went through some stuff last year. Are you seeing more of what you want to see on a day-to-day basis from him?
I've liked his attitude, and I've really loved his attitude, and I've loved his work ethic, and he's being a leader in his own way, focusing maybe on the leadership qualities and the positive attitude qualities, and and if that's the case, that's great, and that's what we need because his game will come along. I'm not worried. I'm not too concerned about that.
Everybody good, Coach?
So,
One last thing, looking forward to your first head coaching job, first stop coming into playing an exhibition. I thought that's a real cool deal.
Yeah, it's my assistant coach who coached who still coaches at Campbellsville, got the job after I left, is still there, and a close friend of mine and somebody who's had an incredible influence on my coaching career. I don't. If it wasn't for Keith, I don't know if I'd be sitting here. As much help as he gave me, because he'd been into coaching several years before. That was my first coaching ever. I'd never coached before, and he was great. We were kind of a similar age, but he'd been into coaching. Division I recruiting coach who decided to come with me at Campbellsville. And he taught me a lot, and he was right there, my right-hand man, and we were kind of going through the Campbellsville thing together full-heartedly as a team because I was around him so much. So he's been an incredible direct reflection of me sitting here. If it wasn't for him helping me there, I don't think I would probably be sitting here, along with a lot of other people. But it's just a small, very, very small way to repay him and to give back to Campbellsville University, who obviously where I met my wife, and my father-in-law is still the team doctor there. And I loved living there. Great place, great university. The president's still there. Michael Carter's still there. So many people. So, and they're going to bring a lot of people. They'll bring a lot of people, and I think they're coming to stay over for the Baylor game the next day, and they're going to make a weekend out of it. And so, I just told them to take it easy on us when they come in. But it was. That's the least I could do.